Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you with another video. All right, forgive my mouth. I'm eating breakfast. I'm making a Laker video like I used to make last season a lot. I think I've made too many of these. Cut off my meal and turn on the camera. But I'm looking at the Lakers and our overall opponents and the result of each game. Regular season stats so far in the year. And there's something that needs to be said. There's something that we really need to talk about. And I've been thinking about this for maybe like 4 or 5 days, but we need to zero in on it right now because I have not heard anyone say this but me right now. In the Laker wins, very consistently we score over 120 points. In Laker losses, we very consistently lose, having only scored under 110 points. This is very, very consistent, you guys. The first game of the season, we lost the game 119-109. Second game of the season, Minnesota, we won 128-110. Third game, 127-120 against Sacramento. We won. Game we lost against Portland, 122-108. We only scored 108 points. We lost. Let's continue. Minnesota, 116-115. We won. Wasn't quite up to par with the scoring, but the point is we were up there, above 115 points. Against Memphis, 117-112. We won. 117 points scored. Miami, 130-120. 130 points scored. We won. Portland, 123-115. 123 points. We won. San Antonio, 118-116. 118 points. We won. Atlanta, 122-102. We only scored 102. We lost. Charlotte, 121-111. We scored 121 points. We won. OKC, 121-92. We only scored 92 points. We got blown out. New Orleans, 118-104. We scored 118 points. We won. Milwaukee, 119-95. We scored 119 points. We won. You see what I'm saying? That's extremely consistent. Extremely consistent. The Lakers need to score in order to win. And when we score, we don't lose. When we don't win. It's that damn simple. It is that damn simple. And I've been noticing this for a couple days, and I just keep forgetting to tell y'all or keep forgetting to say this. But the Lakers really do need to score above 119 points every night. And if we do, our chances of winning are basically 100%. But if we score 109 points or less, we're going to lose every time. That's just what it's been. And this is a pretty large sample size at this point. Pretty large sample size. I know defense is important, and we're coming off our best defensive game. So we want to continue to make it so that teams score under their average against us. I don't think we'll ever be a great defensive team with this unit, but last night we played really good D as a team. And I think that's duplicable if possible. Is that the right word? We can do that again and again and again and again. But one thing we have to zero in on, consistency for us and our understanding, is this. We need to score somewhere hovered around 117 or more. And if we do, chances are our defense is good enough to see to it that our opponent is scoring fewer than that. And so that's really what I wanted to, that's like the purpose of me turning on the camera. I'm like, yo, this, I don't know if anything's more consistent in numbers than what it is I'm looking at here. This is like Groundhog Day, man. The Lakers really do need to score, and they need to score a lot. And if they do, they're going to win a lot. And we have been scoring a lot, and we need to continue to do so. But if we start sensing that we're not scoring enough, you can bet that likely this is going to hold up. And so we've only lost 4 games, but in all 4 of those games, we scored under 110 points, man. 92, 102, 108, and 109. So, yeah, offense is the name of the game for this team. Offense. It's not defense. Although defense is extremely important, but offense. Making sure that we get to the line enough, making sure that we're getting offensive rebounds for second chance opportunities consistently, and taking quality shots and being good with our possessions. It's the name of the game for the Lakers. We got to do that. So that's really the purpose of this video there. So I made a lot of mistakes yesterday, man. A lot of mistakes on my videos. I don't know if I'm still in preseason mode or if I'm just getting old and my mind is not working well, but I said earlier in the video, the post game video, that LeBron was supposed to be coming back Tuesday. So clearly there would be a game on Tuesday, right? And then I proceeded to be confused about when the next game was. It was just like just real brain fart type stuff. But I've been noticing a lot of that lately. I wonder if you have as well with me. Just been struggling. Just like stuff like that shouldn't be that difficult. But I guess I don't know. I'm just getting old. I imagine. I don't know. But yeah, man, that's really what I wanted to say as well. Just bear with me as I continue to make mistakes, man. I don't have a script here, but I do have another phone, so it's not a whole lot of excuses. But yeah, man. Looking forward to this rest for the Lakers. Not necessarily for myself, obviously, but for the team. They are going to only play 4 games in the next 10 nights. Soft schedule. Although Utah's a team that scores a lot, but they give up a lot too. So it's sort of like going up against Miami. You would expect you could score 140 points on them. You give up 130 points and you still win. So that's kind of how it's been with Utah. Loosely, I will do homework on them, of course, and understand exactly what they've been doing. But just from afar, it seems like they're scoring a lot, man. And they have some fantastic scores, but their team defense principles are not very good. It seems so. We'll get a look at them, but they do have a lot of ascending players, and they're going to be an OKC-like team eventually with all these lottery picks that they're piling up. Ace Bailey starting to play well now after having a very slow start. He's really picking up over the last 4 games. In fact, he's been rosterable in all fantasy lineups, so keep an eye open for him. They got Collier back, who is one of the most underrated point guards in basketball, if you ask me. I think his name is Isaiah Collier. Rookie from last year. He was terrific at the end of last year, and he's been terrific coming back from injury in the last couple of games. He only played for like 2 games, but he's consistently rosterable fantasy wise as well, and I'm not surprised to see him doing great things. Just probably maybe low key, maybe the most underrated point guard in basketball. Isaiah Collier, the Utah Jazz. Nobody talks about him. Nobody mentions that he's very even competent, but the boy puts up like 10, 12 assists and stuff like that, gets to the line consistently. He's going to be a stud, bro. He's going to be a stud, and I already see that coming, so I just want people to know that Isaiah Collier is out there, and he gives them an even more dynamic offensive attack. Yeah, this Utah team, that's exactly what it was. As I look at their numbers, 132 in the last game, 152 the game before, 113 the game before. They can score. That's really what it is. They are capable of putting up a lot of points. They had a game against Portland where they scored 134 points, scored 134 against the Suns, 129 against the Clippers, 132 against Portland another time. Portland's a very good defense, and they scored 134 points and 132 points against them. Won one of those games too. So 130 against the Spurs and Wemby. 127 against the Rockets. I mean, they weren't winning these games because they have terrible defensive principles, as I said. But offensively, they're going to light you up, and they're going to play at a very fast pace. So to have 2 games against them back-to-back, or not really back-to-back, they're spread out pretty evenly throughout the course of like a whole week. We played them twice. But point is, you're going to have to really run against this team. You have to really run against them. And if you take them lightly, it can go bad for you. Just like it did for Portland, just like it did they beat the Celtics. They beat the Suns, who are playing really well right now, as I already mentioned. So, I would tell people that the Utah Jazz are an improving bunch, and they have high ceiling players on their team. High ceiling, high lottery pick guys that have just yet to develop. But if they happen to show you glimpses that can really hurt you, they're probably the most team, I don't know how to word this, but they're probably the best team in the world for that particular thing. Their 8th best guy is projected to be better than your 3rd best guy when he develops, that type of thing. So you got to be very careful with teams like this. You don't want what they have to hurt you on a given night. So that's what I want to say. Markkanen's out there playing career ball. He's been good since Eurobasket. He was awesome there. He's been awesome in the start of the season. Hopefully he can find a new home and get the hell out of Utah finally. Wasting his prime out there, just like Jordan Clarkson ended up having to do. Nurkic is out there now. He's playing well. Svi, our old guy, he's playing well. getting minutes and stuff. I don't know if the numbers are telling me he's not playing well, but that's not the point. He's out there getting big minutes. Keontae George is breaking out. He's been fantastic. And as I said, Ace Bailey playing well. Filipowski is highly capable of acting a fool out there. Bryce Sensabaugh is an elite scorer when he fully develops. Isaiah Collier, as I mentioned, super upside there. Cody Williams, J-Dub's little brother, he's just gets to develop so very slowly. He and Ace Bailey are going to be ridiculously dynamic 3-4 years from now. So Utah is going to be OKC. I just want people to understand this. They're going to be OKC. If they don't screw up what they're doing, they're just going to pile on through the draft, and they're going to have a super team. They already have a super team. They're just a bunch of kids that don't know it yet. They don't know who they are yet. But, all of these guys are ridiculous. Williams, Sensabaugh, Filipowski, Bailey, George, Markin, and they're all really, really good. Walter Clayton Jr., really, really good players, man. So do not at all sleep on this Jazz team, and they're still tanking. They're going to get somebody even better than that. They might get Boozer down there. It's going to get ugly for the rest of the league. It's going to be them and OKC dominating the Western Conference if this continues. And so I see it coming. They're OKC just like 4 years behind. So you heard it here first. Do not be surprised if Utah really develops into a championship level team and stays that way for like 6-7 years, because they're putting rookie contracts of lottery picks up and down the damn roster. So that's something that people need to really, really do something about, man. We need to, I don't know, man. It's going to be frustrating when we're watching OKC and Utah in the Western Conference Finals for like 5 years straight. It's going to suck. But the NBA that's where it's headed. That's exactly where this is headed, man. So, yeah, that is something I wanted to say. We're going to see that Utah team twice, and I'm pretty sure those young players are going to probably make a lot of mistakes. But as they develop, they're going to get better and better and better. They're going to work with one another, grow with one another, and eventually they're going to run people out the gym. It's inevitable. So, yeah, that's what I want to say about our next opponent. I'm very, very respectful of the ceiling of those players, and if something crazy happens, it won't surprise me because of it. But I think they're comfortably on a tank mission, so I'm pretty sure they're going to try to drop, if not one, both of those games. So, yeah, man, what else is going on? Adu Thero made his debut last night, only got 4 minutes. I was disappointed in JJ for not playing him more. I thought he looked good in the minutes out there on both sides of the floor. The big dunk in the fourth quarter, the way he was fighting around screens, hustling, I just saw room for him to continue to play well if he would have been given 10, 12 minutes last night. And, I think some people should feel concerned. I think a guy like Vanderbilt should be very concerned, because Adu Thero just essentially came in and was more quality with his minutes than Vando was with his. And I know much has been said about Vando's minutes being dwindled down to 8 yesterday, but I thought he was trash for them 8 minutes. So I would have dwindled him down even further if it was up to me. I just don't know if he has long for this basketball team. I don't. His contract's not that great, but he is healthy. People know what he can do, but he's not being showcased to do those things on this roster. We need different things. Now Adu's in place, so you don't necessarily need Vando the same way you used to. I just think it's a great time for people who like Vando to come get him from the Lakers, man. It's a great time for the Lakers to shop him. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm kind of frustrated with his offensive deficiencies. I'm over some of the poor hands stuff that he has issues with all by himself, messing up, different offensive plays. Need him to make a quicker pass. He's slow to it. He's driving at the rim, missing layups when he should be looking to make a pass to a trailing player on a certain angle. He's not good offensively. He's very good defensively, but he is like below NBA standard offensively most of the time, and it just doesn't work for our roster. I think there would be rosters where you can get more out of them, places where they got elite shooters and athletic wings all over the place. I think he could really shine coming off the bench for somebody, but for us, it becomes a problem because you're bringing in players who are supposed to keep leads, and he can't score. And when he does score, it's like seldom, that he's able to do it consistently. So I think his 3-point shot over the last 4 games has improved dramatically. The way that we were hoping to see 2 years ago with Darvin Ham, The corner three, he's able to hit that a little more now than he was in the past. So I think he's more useful now than he was then. But some of the deficiencies offensively, he's making some progress, but not big enough of a jump for us to be playing him the minutes that ultimately you would want to. As a team who needs a defensive player out there, he eats away at your offense a little too much, and I think the coaching staff is tired of it, and so am I as a fan. I'm tired of it too. But I did want to acknowledge that 3-point shot is starting to fall, so that should be encouraging for him personally. And, that 18 rebound game, I think he's a much better rebounder than we've been able to showcase him for all of our needs. We just haven't been able to keep him on the floor. But if he were to stay on the floor long enough, he'd probably be a 12 rebound, 6 assist guy. Probably only get 4 points a night. But Vando has some extreme strengths. He just needs to be somewhere where they can showcase him without it being a deficiency for the roster and for us. It ain't that at all. So yeah, I'm happy he's healthy though. I think a lot of his development has been derailed by injuries. I'm sure he would have been better if those injuries didn't happen. I think the NBA, the Lakers specifically, rushed him back some of those injuries. So we probably botched some of that over the last 3 years. But regardless of why we're here. And with him only getting 8 minutes last night, Adu Thero coming in looking great, Maxi Kleber coming in, kind of being better than you would expect. You just have to wonder what the future holds for Vando in the short term with this roster. I would not be overly surprised to see him get some DMPs. I wouldn't be overly surprised. But it is what it is, man. I just think that Vando's offensive deficiencies are just a little too much for what our roster's needs are. It's a little too much. So, yeah, I think that's kind of the talk around Laker Nation is him only getting 8 minutes last night. But like I said, he did have an 18-rebound game on this road trip. I think it was against probably Atlanta, probably that bad game that we had. So, yeah, man, I tell Vando, just keep working, stay healthy. You're going to get better, man. You're going to get better, but you are probably going to be able to showcase yourself in a different situation. So that's just what I see coming, man. And look, we'll probably regret losing Vando. He's going to be a helpful player in the playoffs, especially as he continues to get better. And he's going to, come up with the key steal in the Game 7 of the NBA Finals type guy. He is definitely going to help a team. So if we hold on to him, I don't think we'll hate it. Just for the time being, it's going to be tough getting him on the floor in JJ's offense. This is tough. And as we pointed out, we're a better team when we score a lot. So if we got offensively deficient players, did the stats not tell us that decreases the odds of us winning the basketball game? I think that's just basically what the stats just told us. So that's something that we need to kind of just work into our thinking. But I really do need Coach JJ to give Thero more minutes. And if he proves he's no good with those minutes, then we scale back. But I think in that game, he showed me that he provides me the athleticism that everybody else on the roster doesn't have. And so for me, I need that guy to immediately jump in and have a lot more minutes than maybe you would give a regular rookie in the regular situation, because you need what he does, man. You need the speed, you need the athleticism, you need the lob threat next to Luka. And if he's going to be able to hit free throws and maybe occasionally hit a jumper, that should be enough to keep us offensively sound as we can take advantage of his defensive abilities and ultimately his leak out speed, which is going to be extremely helpful for Luka and Austin, who like to throw the full court pass, and of course Bron, who also likes to throw the full court pass. He's going to help us in ways that Vanderbilt, you just can't trust to do that. And they're going to have to respect him offensively more so than Vanderbilt, because he's just a better scoring threat, I think, just out the gate. Adu doesn't have some of the deficiencies that Vando does. He's not a scorer per se, but his athleticism alone is going to get him easy buckets that Vando's not going to have. Vando's pretty athletic, but not jumpy, not bouncy, not speedy. Vando has some strengths that Adu doesn't have, but Adu has some things that Vando can't develop. And so for me, if I had to choose between one, it ain't going to be too hard for me. I'm going to take the kid Adu every time. That's not going to be difficult. So, yeah, man, this ain't a bash Vando video, but we point out what we see, man. Some players on this roster just, when you bring in certain other guys, you just don't need them as much anymore. I personally do not need Gabe Vincent at all. And I know he's about to be coming back, and I'm going to hate all his minutes because I don't want to see him on the floor at all. I'm just going to be honest with you. If I were coach, he would get DMPs every damn night. I don't have a room for him anymore. Really, for anything. I would rather those minutes go to LaRavia, uh, Nick Smith, Bronny James, upside guys, youngsters who can also play some defense, who can also score more than him, who are more athletic than him. I mean, I need him to be a coach for those guys. But I think J.J. Redick likes Gabe Vincent a lot more than I do. I'm going to sit Gabe a good portion of the time. Unless Gabe can get back to shooting the way that he did in the preseason, that version of Gabe is definitely a useful player for any team in the league. But the Gabe that we've been seeing for the last, since he came back from injury, jogging Gabe, Cardi G, I don't ever want that player on the floor for my team. I'm just going to tell y'all and be the bad guy, man. You can hate me for it. It just is what it is. I'm always willing to tell y'all some cold stuff. And I don't ever want Gabe to come back to this team, bro. You could trade him right now, and I'm going to celebrate that. It ain't because I don't like Gabe as a person. It's not nothing to do with him personally or how he's presented himself on the team. I actually think he's a great, leader on the roster for young players. But again, those people do not get roster spots on my team at all. They are coaches. They become coaches. They sit next to JJ, and they grab a clipboard, and they help him. And so that's exactly what I want Gabe to do. Grab a clipboard, brother, and help these young players run. Because I don't need nothing you about to do out there. So I think in situations like this, you have to say, just like with Vando, if you're going to sit people and then proceed to say you want to trade people, those two things do not mix. You're gonna bring down the value of those players. So there's no perfect way to play this. If you want a guy to be traded, you better play him and make him look good when he's out there. So I don't know what to do in that situation. I don't have the answer. I'm just telling you that I don't really have a desire to have Gabe out there anymore. I don't. I want to use my young ball handlers. And that's how I feel, man. His defense is okay, but he's undersized. He ain't really stopping no big time guys. He could be a part of a good defensive lineup, but so can LaRavia. You know what I mean? So can Bronny. Those guys can play some defense too. And so it's just not. I don't. If Gabe's gonna hit shots, we'll change our tune because he looked great in this preseason. I love that version of him. I ain't seen that version of him to start the regular season. I'm cool, y'all. I'm really cool. So that's what I want to say, man. We got some people to move on from, bro. I'm shopping Gabe. I'm shopping Vando. And if I like what I see, I'm pulling the trigger if I'm Rob Pelinka. Vando it's not as pressing to move him because Vando has a certain size comparability that you can keep him in big lineups. You can play him in multiple positions, and when it's time to guard the De'Aaron Foxes and people like that, and you may not have an answer, you can definitely throw him at those people. Maybe if Marcus Smart is out, like he's been in the last 2 games, you want to use Vando. Hopefully he's playing well. If Vando was 6'3" like Gabe Vincent, 6'2" like Gabe Vincent, it would be a no-go. But if that Vando is comparable size to other wings, I think it's not as much urgency to move him. He's young, so it's no urgency for me to move Vando. If I don't like what I see, I'm happy to keep him. He's just gonna be getting DNPs for me. But Gabe, nah, we gotta get that. I need that roster spot. To be honest with you, I need those minutes. I need that roster spot, Gabe. I'm just gonna be real with you, brother. That's exactly how I feel there. So moving him, I'm moving him, and I'm trying to move him as soon as it's feasible to do so for a good price. I'm not trying to lose any trades, but I think to an extent he's addition by subtraction. And given the fact that he's an expiring contract, I'm pretty sure he's going to want to be showcased somewhere. And if he can't be showcased here, I'm sure he'd be happy moving on to somewhere where he can be showcased. I don't know where that would be. I ain't giving no thought to that. I'm sure he'll find somewhere to be. I'm sure you'll find a couple of teams. Hell, Milwaukee could probably use him or something like that. There are teams that could use Gabe Vincent for sure. I just don't think the Lakers, with all these young guards that we now have, are one of them. When Luka Don in place, no. Now, the way the team was constructed when we had AD, it was a different dynamic. You needed more guard play. Here, our situation is built around guards. We got Luka and Austin. So if the guards that I have are not needed to complement them off the bench, if they're not, that's not a position that necessarily is in need for the Lakers anymore, is essentially what I'm trying to say. Especially now that we got Marcus Smart. I mean, I don't ever need Gabe Vincent anymore. So that's really what I got to say, man. I need a center. And I like what I seen from Jackson Hayes. I like what I seen from DeAndre Ayton. I need another center too. I need somebody else in rotation that's going to push them for minutes. I need somebody like that kid over in New Orleans that they ain't using, the rookie that we were talking about a couple of days ago, that we could have drafted ourselves. What's his name? I can't think of the man's name right now, but I could use somebody like that. Yves Missy. Go get me Yves Missy. Trade Gabe for Yves Missy. Would I do that from New Orleans? Probably not, but that's not the point. That's the type of move that I think the Lakers need to be making. They get somebody like that. Because we need centers now more than we needed them then, although that's not... Nah, ignore that. We needed centers back then, too, when we had Anthony Davis. But the team's not constructed around a legitimate big anymore. It's not constructed around AD. So you can't get away with not having competent center play. You see what I'm saying? You can't get away with it. Now, we do have that, but Ayton has shown me he comes in and out of focus like he did on this road trip. The last 2 games he played great. 2 games before that he was bad. We've been watching him do this for 5 years in other places. I'm prepared for it. I want to be able to shift to another player. If you ain't out there, give me Neemias Queta over there in Boston. Yves Missy, that type of player. He don't have to be some superstar, but he has to be somebody who's going to push Ayton for minutes. Somebody who I can shift into if I don't like what I'm seeing from Jackson Hayes. We have to upgrade there. We need bigger bodies. We need a bigger team even from what we have right now if we have any chance at dealing with OKC and San Antonio and Houston, who are rich in that way. So Gabe's roster spot, move that, bring back a big, bring back another big, make us a little more deep in that area. That's where we need to be better. So that's what I want to say there. That's extremely important to me. If we're going to try to be real contenders, we go into the playoffs with only these 2 centers, and we're going to be out. We're just not going to be good enough to as we want to be. In a 7-game series, when people start using size against you, start getting in foul trouble, you're gonna need a big body out there. So, if Boston is serious about moving Neemias Queta, I know his value's up. They are a tanking team. They probably should be trying to get value for anything. An expiring contract like Gabe Vincent for Boston, a team that's got a year off, basically, probably ain't a bad idea. If I can move, and I don't know if these contracts line up, they probably don't, but if I can move Gabe Vincent for Neemias Queta, we're doing that right now. And I'll be happy to throw in Maxi Kleber's expiring as well, even though I think Maxi looked good. That's good because we want to play up his trade value and move on from him. That's not pressing either. He looked really good last night, but this is when you move on from players you can move on from. Not when they suck and you realize you can't use them, but when they're playing well, you get them off your team then. So that's something to think about. I like what I've seen from Dalton Connect over these last several days. That could apply to him too. And now he's playing well. Yeah, it's time to pick up the phone and call if you're going to trade him. Me personally, I'm still not quite comfortable moving on from a player who's developing, who has the offensive ability he has. I'm not on the pro trade Dalton Connect at all costs side of the fence, but I do find myself severely frustrated with him. But it's year 2. So who are you not frustrated with as a rookie in year 2? And you can throw his age at me if you want to, but that has nothing to do with experience. And I don't know that he's the most mature 24-year-old. Doesn't seem like he is, to be honest with you. I think that you might want to consider that when considering his age versus his productivity. Just looking from afar, man. He's starting to play better. If you're on the pro trade him train, now's the time to pick up the phone and move him. But if you're like me, you're probably not there yet. You're probably not there yet with Dalton. But he is a very frustrating player right now, for the most part. So when you see him playing well, if you just have to move him, that's when you do it. Don't wait for him to start sucking again. So that's what I want to say about Dalton. He's looking great. He's looking great over the last couple of games. He's been playing really well on this road trip. I wonder if he's one of those guys that struggle in our building. Play better on the road, struggle in our building, some Westbrook stuff. That might be Dalton. We'll see how he looks against the Jazz. But if he struggles against the Jazz, it's going to hold up that theory that I'm starting to develop. That he's more comfortable playing in places like Charlotte and Milwaukee He'll play better on the road because he ain't going to be in Staples Center / Crypto.com Arena and the purple lights with all them superstars around him. He might be that person. He might be. And it wouldn't be the first time we've seen that guy, but it is what it is, man. What else is there to say, man? With so much going on. The team, we had a struggle road trip, and I think, it's the best case scenario for that. When you go 3-2, having struggled the way that I believe we did, albeit against some soft teams. We played OKC, but everybody else is pretty much beatable. Obviously Milwaukee, but Milwaukee looked like they were not Milwaukee, so that you could look at them as if they were a bad team too, the way they played last night. So, it was what it was. That's I guess my tone for that particular game is I just put an asterisk next to that Milwaukee game. I don't think we really ran into the Milwaukee Bucks. I really don't. I think we were prepared to play a good Bucks team, and they played their worst ball, and so it equated to us blowing them out. I think we would have had a really good close game against a Bucks team that was playing like they're supposed to be playing. I think that's probably how that would have went. You know what I'm saying? That's truly how I looked at that. So I put an asterisk next to that one because I just think the Bucks were playing awful, and I don't think they were fully prepared for any type of basketball games against anybody, let alone Luka, after that Hornets game. So. Yeah, man, Doc Rivers, y'all know how I feel. I'm not a Doc guy. I don't really like Doc Rivers' way of doing things at all. I've been down on Doc Rivers since he covered up our banners when he was a Clipper coach, but just some of the stuff that he did in Philly and Milwaukee, and even in the Clippers, I'm not a fan of him as a coach at all. So it wasn't surprising for me to see JJ run mini circles around him and Darvin Ham. I expect JJ to do that. I think JJ's a better coach. I really do. So that's just how I feel, man. I was not surprised to see them struggle. And look, man, sometimes not to make this a Milwaukee video, I don't know if I'm looking at this correctly, but sometimes you overthink things. Milwaukee, with the Miles Turner deal, they gave him all that money, traded away stuff they shouldn't have traded, stretched out Dame, of whom's contract is going to be just eating away at their pockets for the next 5 years. They're making Dame damn near a billionaire with this stupid contract stretching that they're doing. Was it actually necessary? Like, don't get me wrong. They needed a center. They needed to do something to keep Giannis here because he's probably putting pressure on them like he did several years ago when they made the Drew Holiday trade. Do something, or I'm looking elsewhere. And so it's always a thing with Giannis and the leverage against that franchise that most franchises don't have to deal with. Just being honest. It ain't talked about much, but Giannis has put a foot on their neck for years, forcing them to do stuff that probably ain't to the betterment of their franchise. So long as he stays, it's worth it to them. But then I look at what they have with Miles Turner. He's clearly an aging player. He's not having a good season. They gave up too much. They went through too much to acquire him. And now it looks like they have a player that's on a bad contract. Does that really improve Giannis's desire to stay on your team? Does it improve his chances of winning the East? Maybe some, if he plays well. But what you did was you grabbed an op off of a opposing team in a year where that team's best player is hurt and paid him all kinds of money. Now, if you're Miles Turner, of course you go for that. You definitely do that because this is going to be a severe tank year for the Pacers. At this age, you're a free agent. They're going to pay you in Milwaukee differently than Indy. Cool, great. All of that for Miles is perfect. I do what Miles did. I'm out. However, if you're the Milwaukee Bucks, that was a lot of trouble you went through to acquire a guy who ain't that. And I know the pressure that Giannis put on you. You know, it's one of them situations where, like the Clippers and Paul George, if you're going to get Kawhi Leonard, you need to go get Paul too. I get it. But just like that, it was a bad decision. And so as I look at the Milwaukee Bucks and how they played last night, and I walk away from that game having looked at the stats, and Miles Turner walked away with like 2 points. He's struggling rebounding the ball. That team is like only 4 games above 500. The Eastern Conference with a bunch of teams that are not really that great. The best team in the league is the damn Detroit Pistons, who was the worst team in the league 2 years ago. Like, this is an open year, if we're really being honest. and the Bucks are just kind of okay. If I'm Giannis, I still want out. If I wanted out before the Miles Turner deal, I want out now too. It's not that didn't do it. If anything, you put yourself in a position to be less flexible going forward, which makes it harder to bring you stuff, anything worth having, whether Giannis is there or not. So if you're going to screw up your books to bring in a player to keep Giannis, it can't be somebody who's aging. It can't be somebody who's has deficiencies in the areas that their position provides. It's just not good. And I know they love the stretch center because they're moving on from Brook Lopez, who went to the Clippers, so you definitely want the stretch center. Not too many better than Miles Turner at that. I respect that, but like, just like Brook Lopez, he can't rebound worth a damn. So it's just, for me, a terrible decision. I said it the day they did it. Stretching Dame was a terrible decision. Signing Dame to that was a terrible decision. Trading for Dame was a terrible decision. And all of these decisions that they've made have been because they're trying to keep Giannis. If you're going to do bad things to keep Giannis, then at some point you got to realize that this is not in your betterment, whether you're keeping Giannis or not. Not for the grand scheme of trying to build a team sustainable for the long term. If you're basing everything on Giannis, you do understand that Giannis is already 30 years old. He's only going to be here for but so much longer. So if you're going to lock up your flexibility for the foreseeable future to keep a player who's already starting to head down the other way, then you're not doing it right. And what you have to understand when you have a player like Giannis or have a player like LeBron or have a player like Luka or have a player is that there will be other superstars. There will be others. And the only way you're going to get them is by maintaining your flexibility and keeping draft picks in your pocket, and most importantly, making sure that the stuff on your roster is valuable enough to trade so that you can acquire whatever good that you're going to get. If you have bad contracts on aging players and role players that are not having really much upside or whatever the case may be, your team's going to suck whether you got Giannis or not. So, the Bucks, you know what rhymes with that? That's what they are. It's not looking good, like, for me. Looking at them from afar, they're everything you don't want to be. A team that's making bad decisions to hold on to a great player. That doesn't make it so that you have any chance of winning with that player, and it makes it so that it's more difficult for you to replace that player if they decide to leave any damn way. You would do better making good decisions, and if that player decides to walk, he walks. But at least your team is in a ready position to acquire something else great. Giannis ain't the only superstar. He's a once-in-a-lifetime player. But there will be other players, and you're one of 30 teams that's going to be able to acquire them. You can't have so much bad going on that you can't attract anything. It ain't just the small market that makes you unattractive to these stars. It's the decisions that you make that ultimately pushes these people away as well. And if you look at what OKC is doing, there are no excuses for a team like Milwaukee. There's none. If you do what OKC does, you're them. Do they have Giannis? No. Do they need Giannis? No. Do you understand what I'm saying? You can't do that to yourself. You can't be so married to the superstar you have that you forget that you're an NBA squad and somebody's landing in one of those 30 spots. All the players that are coming over the next 1,000 years are coming to one of the 30 spots, and you happen to be one of them. So you can't look at it like I got to keep the guy I got forever to the detriment of everything going on. No, that's the wrong way to look at it. And that's what we've been talking about on this channel for 3 years now, 4 years now. And so, yeah, the Lakers have been doing things correctly. I don't think we're moving that way anymore. But the Bucks are doing things the wrong way, and they're going to be bad for a long time. And Giannis will be wise to move on from that place. And he's probably not going to do so because they've guilt-tripped him, and he's home for him. They developed him and all that other bullcrap, and he's probably going to retire with one ring because of it. And they don't have to be that way. They don't have to be that way. Everybody's doing things the wrong way there. They don't have to be that way. So that's pretty much what I have to say about the Bucks, man. I guess I'll make this a Laker Bucks video. You know what I'm saying? I didn't plan to, but that's on my mind after watching them last night. If it weren't for Ryan Rollins, there wouldn't be much upside on that whole entire roster. He's the only upside piece that I saw there. Besides what? Mark Sears at the back of their bench? It's a terrible situation. Jackson, of whom they never play? Terrible situation, bro. So, and I don't see it getting any better. So that's really what I got to say about the Bucks, man. Giannis, sometimes love can drive you into some terrible decisions for your career. You only got one career, bro. You're not gonna be able to move like this forever. If you want to win more championships, you're going to have to love them from afar, bro. You have to love them from afar. You can do what Dame did, end up like Dame. At least you got your one ring. Dame ain't getting none. He loved, he loved Portland. Yeah, he wanted the money, all of that different, all stuff had nothing to do with winning it. And he's not going to be known as a winner, bro. He got his dollars, is what he wants. I think Giannis is driven by something else, and he already got a bunch of money, so I don't think he needs to really do that. Giannis needs to be talking about championships because he's still got plenty left in the tank, and if he goes to the right situation, he's going to win 3 or 4 more. No problem. But if he stays in Milwaukee, there will be no more winning championships. No, not at all. So, with that being said, if the Lakers want to replace LeBron James with Giannis Antetokounmpo, if Giannis comes around to what I think is best for him, he'll be looking our way. BDO 44. I'll thank y'all for watching. Out.